So much for your time. I loved hearing about the ways our product teams are making it easier for users to discover content on TikTok.
Same, and I'm so impressed that the product team is launching and developing new capabilities every single week. Unreal.
Yep, listening to our community is at the crux of what we do, even as our community, as you all know, grows exponentially by the day.
Exactly. The world fell in love with TikTok for a reason, and we want to give the world even more reasons to stay in love. We've got back-to-back sessions on platform innovation. Kyle Yin is going to share some super exciting updates on TikTok Shop and give all the developers in the room a little sneak peek into our open API platform. But first,
we will be taking a look at our recommendation algorithm and the important research happening to make sure TikTok is equitably promoting our diverse community. Let's give a warm welcome to TikTok's very own David Dong.
So good morning, everyone. My name is David, and I'm a research scientist here in TikTok Lab Research. And during the TikTok Dev Day today, we're going to highlight two innovations as an example of TikTok's experience. In a few minutes, Kyle will join us to talk about some of the new things we're launching on the TikTok Shop. But now I'm going to do something that is what we usually do not do. Let's pull back the curtain of TikTok's recommendation algorithm just a bit. To show you how hard we work to keep TikTok community diverse and unique, I'm going to share a case study that shows the type of research we're currently conducting behind the scene. But before that, I need all of you to swear the secrecy. Just kidding. So let's start with one of the most fundamental challenges that tech industry faces, that's diversity. It's hard to measure, it's hard to manage, and yet it is essential to the community that TikTok has built. The diversity of the content and the diversity of creators and users who came to TikTok is the engine that drives our unique user experience. But the diversity doesn't happen just on its own. If you have worked in the tech industry for a long time, you might have a sense that if the system left unchecked, the large system might pick some habits that is bad. At TikTok, we know that we had to deliberately build these systems to help users explore and discover new things. It's our job to ensure that we do not enforce any biases or close ourselves off from one another. We have to motivate people. We have to keep them out of their bubbles. That is true whether you're talking about the AI-powered large language model or the TikTok recommendation algorithm. What makes TikTok different from all the others is that we deliberately work to expand our unique user experience by exposure our user to the new content. Did you know that there's a term of this type of work that's called algorithmic fairness? So that is how we study and understand and correct the biases behind the algorithm. To put it simple, let's take one example. Suppose we have two users, one is a man, one is a woman, and they both press like on the TikTok app, and what happens next? So basically, there are three different scenarios. The first one is a good platform may equally recommend the sports video to the male user and female user for 100% probability. So that is a good platform because it captures the user's behavior and preference. But the second one is like a bad system that may recommend both videos to men user and women user with just 1% probability. That's a bad platform, but still fail. And in the worst case, we might have a system that recommends sports video to men user with 100% probability, but just 1% probability to the female user. So that is an unfair platform. We must act and we must take some action. But before that, we can act to ensure the fairness, we have to be able to measure it. In a small system, measuring the fairness could be pretty straightforward because you can get a very clear sense of user preference by just take care of their engagement data. whether they like a video, share a video, or follow the creator, you get a sense. But for a large recommendation system, it's a very different story, because it's much harder. Because there are too much videos and too much contents out there for a single user that they haven't engaged with yet. We call this data a missing label because we don't have any preference labels of the user's preference. But after all, how do we anticipate what content the user would prefer if we do not have any information about the user's engagement? And how do we avoid making assumptions of user's preference by only have the access to the demographic data? How do we measure the fairness accurately in the system that is as large as TikTok? Well, we have billions of users uploading billions of videos in a single day. I'm on the stage today because we have started to answer this incredible questions in a series of research. Our fairness algorithm initiative consists of a number of studies, but today I want to just focus on one of them to share with you. In this particular study, it appears that although we have found a unique way to measure fairness in a large recommendation system, we have to insert some kind of small amount of random traffic so that we can prop the user's preference data. So in parallel to the original conventional or default recommendation strategy passing through this information funnel, we also insert a small amount of random traffic data to bring the randomized content into users' feeds so that we can get a sense of how does the user's preference on some kind of randomized data. We believe that by inserting a small amount of randomized content to the user's feed, we are able to set a baseline by which we are able to measure fairness across the platform. And thanks to TikTok's open spirit of innovation, we are able to put this in the test safely and securely in the real-world setting. So we call this ranking-based equal opportunity, or REO. So our work on REO is nothing short of groundbreaking. This study in particular is the first of this kind, emphasizing the necessity of random traffic in the dataset collection for recommendation fairness. Not only is the first study to publish a fairness-related dataset from TikTok, but it's also the first study that to provide a reliable estimates of these fairness metrics in the context of large-scale recommendation system with a lot of missing label data. We may dive into the details for now. We collected data between April 18th and May 1st from a randomized set of users in Japan. We performed the data collection by dumping our recommendation logs uniformly at random. The default random traffic we collected on a daily basis, and on every day, we have 150K rows of data. And each of them consists of a user item pair, and this pair was sampled uniformly at random from the recommendation logs by using the default recommendation strategy. Here is what we look at this data. So it has 6 different data points for us to understand how users prefer these videos. And we also have 1 data point on demographic data of the video creators, namely whether the creator is a young adult. Their age is between 18 and 24. What do we find? Since we are currently at TikTok, so we want to make everything short and punchy. So in short, that is how it works. Even with the presence of data with missing labels, we are able to measure fairness metrics, that is REO, accurately among users. And by taking a look at this curve, we see that for all of these sampling days, we have the REO data below this 11% threshold that shows our fairness, that shows our platform has a pretty good fairness data in terms of the demographic of young adults. An example of context from young adults, we know that we are able to measure fairness, but we might want to be able to have some correction or has to improve our fairness across the platform. So that is enforced by the so-called A/B test. And that is how we do that. We take a look at the creator data points to see that how we can able to improve it by performing different strategies. We have 3 different strategies. We test our system by boosting the content from young adult creators by 2%, deboosting by 2%, and also find a middle ground that they deboosted by 1.25%. So surprisingly, with a 1.25 times deboosting strategy of young adults content, that leads to the best improvement in terms of REO scores of the fairness. In other words, deboosting the content from the young adults by 1.25 times, we're able to make our fairness outcome that is most suitable across the platform. So all of this I showed here have a lot of implications, but what does all of this mean in 3 different important aspects? So it means that we are able to preserve fairness across the platform that is core to our diversity and discovery. And it also means that we can measure fairness in a recommendation system that is as large as TikTok. But more importantly, that means that we can objectively find the best way to enhance the diversity and discovery that is core to TikTok experience by using A/B tests. And we can do all of this thanks to TikTok's relentless efforts and spirit of research-driven innovation. And that is right here is something truly special. Thank you all for your attendance and thank you for the time to take a glimpse into this truly incredible study across our TikTok platform. And I will turn it over to Kyle to walk us through some of the latest innovation from the TikTok shop.